Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori. I wanted to talk to you today about 3 ways that you are living in entitlement. Now, first and foremost, you hear the word entitlement and you get your panties up in a bunch. But yeah, if that happens, then yes, I might be talking to you, and this video may be directly for you. And to some level, I think in any parts of our lives, some of us carry, especially if you've had trauma, you'll carry a little bit of the entitlement. And so it's about being mindful and self-reflection. So the whole reason that you want to be mindful of your actions, and that's what all of my content is. You know, very often people want to blame other people and they say, I'm this way because of this, or if this person would do this for me, I would feel better. And I am not of that mindset. It is not effective for my own personal journey, my own personal life, nor is it effective for my clients. And so that's why it's about taking your own ownership. And this is part of it, right? And that is, so let me explain. So one thing about entitlement, okay, is gratitude. If you are constantly comparing yourself to other people, wanting what they have, just kind of being like, I mean, this is all right, but I want more. I mean, that's great. I'm glad that you want more. I'm glad that you have that goal for more. We should never be sedentary in our way of thinking and be content. You always want to have some level of growth, and you always want to be striving for new things. Absolutely. I'm here for that. However, you must be grateful every single day. I have a video, I'm going to post it here. See this right here? See that little card? I'm going to post that there for you so you can just click it. It's the 5 journals. You guys have asked me about the 5 journals, so I made it real easy for you and just set it right there. So it's important that you understand your gratitude journal is mandatory to really start your morning if you want it started on a good foot with your mindset, and that is your 10-minute gratitude journal. You set a timer, you pen to pad. Don't be like, oh, I do it in my head. No. You do it on pen to pad, and it's great. You can take your gratitude journal with you when you travel, when you do anything, 365 days a year, pen to pad. And it's not just like things like, oh, I'm grateful for my family and all that. Great. But again, it's the little things. I talk about that in that video. But if you are lacking in gratitude, you're living in entitlement. You feel as though you're entitled to something that somebody else has, or you feel as though you get into this jealous phase, like, well, why do they have it and I don't have it? That's entitlement. Yes, it can come from trauma. Yes, it can come from all of these other spaces. It's still entitlement any way you spin it, all right? So that's number 1. Number 2 is constantly needing the praise or validation. Yes, there's a level of insecurity there. Entitlement in general is based in insecurity. I mean, it just kind of is, right? And so when you realize that other people can only validate you based on where they are in their life, it becomes very clear, right? You think that you may see them in this light of being perfect or whatever it is that you feel like they really have it together. And I mean, to some level, yeah, I mean, we're all a little bit of a train wreck and we're all a little bit more balanced in certain areas. So that's why you have to realize that when you're looking for that constant praise and look at me, that's a total insecurity. It's not narcissism. It's not narcissism, it's insecurity. So if you see somebody who's like, oh my God, they're super self-absorbed, they're so narcissistic. People who are super self-absorbed, and I mean where they are entitled, not confidence. Because if you don't have confidence, you're going to assume that somebody who's confident is self-absorbed. They're not. They just know what their boundaries are, and it is what it is. 2 different things. Just because you can't see the difference doesn't mean that there isn't a difference. And when you get on the other side of that, you'll see what I mean. And so that's the big key, is if you're so worried about doing something for accolades or praise, you're living in entitlement, all right? Which, again, stems from insecurity. Oh, one of my most favorite ones ever. And you know that all of my foundation to everything that I do is always rooted in not the victim mentality. I can't have you living in a victim mentality. If you're constantly sitting and blaming other people, living in your whole mental circumstances, listen, no, every day isn't going to be a cakewalk. No, you're going to have some really bad things that are going to go down. I'm not saying that that's not going to happen. But if you live in that space, there's no productivity. There's not. You're going to live in a space where you think other people have to make you feel better. Other people owe you to walk on eggshells because you've had a bad childhood. Other people, okay, entitlement. And see, people don't like to hear that because they want to blame everybody else. Because if you're blaming everybody else, you don't have to take accountability for yourself. And then you go, well, it's not my fault. This isn't my fault. Let me tell you, if when my second book is done, if you get the book, you'll see. I lived that life for many years, from about, I don't know, 15 to about 23, 24, something like that. And I mean, I lived it pretty hard. So when I'm talking to you about entitlement, it's not coming from a place of superiority. No, it's coming from a place of like, holy hell, I lived that life. And you want to talk about isolating and lonely and miserable and invoking of depression and anxiety. That's where that lives. So entitlement, you're not entitled to anything. You're not better nor less than anybody else. So until you get in that headspace and not looking in constant comparison, this will help you with your gratitude journal because it will make you check yourself. Because you might be like, I am gratitude journaling. Okay, but are you catching yourself comparing? Are you catching yourself saying, I wish I had? Are you doing that? Because there's a level of entitlement there. Also a level of sabotage and insecurity. So there's a combination that goes in there, and we can talk about it. But it's important that you understand that if you're living in entitlement, it's not because you deserve something. It's because you feel as though that's going to make you whole and that you've had this history and that people owe you something. And here's the reality, people don't owe you anything because you had a bad childhood. I mean, nobody's coming to save you. So when you get clear in that, it's not to invalidate you. What you went through is very real. What you went through is real. But just because you went through that doesn't mean that other people owe you something because you did. And so that's the important factor. Does it mean that, you know, when you can't deal with fairness and you feel like you're superior over someone, like people are equal and you feel like that's not true, that's entitlement, inferiority, right? And that's always rooted in insecurity. So check your entitlement. I'm curious to know what you found about yourself from this video. Like, I want to know what you've discovered, because don't get extra and say I'm not entitled. In some levels, we've all carried that. It's not to shame you for it. It's to make you aware of it. Self-awareness is not shaming. It's bringing it to the forefront. And if you don't like that, then you need this video even more than you ever knew.